Hello, YouTube. ZiggyNo back with another video, taking a focused look at the importance of content creators and the influence on the hobby. Now, real quickly here is the Dr. Beckett dinner. A lot of the content creators around the table there, everybody from Jeff, Market Movers, to Chris from Card Ladder, a lot of different content creators in the room. And they did a podcast. Dr. Beckett released a podcast about this over several series. The one I'm going to focus on will be conflicts of interest. I'm not going to play this for you, but I strongly recommend you listen to the entire 13 minutes of this. It's well worth listening, because some things that come up are people have a concern about transparency. And I think a lot of the older content creators or more mature content creators of this is, look, anybody can get up here and tell anybody go buy something, and then they can go sell to people who are buying it, right? It's pumping up. There's so many ways to scam. Scamming's been going on for a long time in sports cards, but it only gets amplified when you have people with a large voice and a lot of uneducated people coming into the hobby. So transparency becomes a big topic of this, and discuss the importance of transparency. And I think everybody agrees and talks about transparency, right? And I think that is important. Now, the thing that also comes up here is about what's the responsibility, like who's in charge. As Dr. Beckett points out, a lot of stuff going on is not a crime. It's not a crime for me to take a card, take the patch out, put a different patch in it. That's my card. I can put any patch I want into it. But if I tried to sell that on to somebody else as an authentic card with an authentic patch, that's a crime. Well, actually, is it a crime? I don't even know. It's wrong, right? And people get called out. But in this hobby, people get called out for that all the time, and they continue to do it. So I'm going to focus this video on transparency. And for somebody in the room who's not very transparent, one of these little smiling faces here is not transparent about what they're doing in the hobby. And I think that transparency is important to see, because they have great influence on the hobby. And with great influence comes what? Comes what? Great responsibility. So again, listen to this. Talks about the importance of transparency. Talks about, is it the buyer beware? Do we educate the community, or do we leave them dark to wander around and burn their hands on hot pots and pans, right? How are we helping people? Do we want this to be a hobby that works or not? Like, in fact, let me just make a shout out to every content creator out there who says, oh, I don't want to pay attention to the negative. Wake the heck up. Wake up. The negative is not negative for no reason at all, right? I applaud those who continue to be watchdogs, sheepdogs of the hobby, who are bringing some justice to where it probably would not be served. And a lot of the people out there scamming people have been scamming for a long time. I'll call them a grifter. You know the difference between a grifter and a con man? A grifter is using his confidence in you to trick you into doing some business for him. Now, let me bring your attention to an email I got. This is an email. I've gotten lots of these, right? You've likely gotten some emails from us telling you how awesome our content is and how much better collector you'll make you. Well, here's the email, a little bit different. And they go on this little pitch. They give you 3 people to tell me about how I should sign up for their content, on how they're going to teach me how to make money in cards, right? There are 2 things you can do: how to profitably collect sports cards, and a profitable collection long-term. So it's all about profit here. And a newsletter, man, I can sign up for. You got to do 2 things. I got to sign up for this course, and I got to sign up for this newsletter. If I do those 2 things, I'm going to rock it in the hobby, right? And look, this isn't the first one. We see these all the time. There's a lot of guys doing this. Who's doing this might be a little more surprising to you. And this came out, by the way, on April 20th. I just want to point that out. That's just recently. It wasn't like it came out, years ago. I'm gonna get some crap about this, because watch this. Here's the next thing. So I click on the link, and here's where I come. Well, let's wait a second.
There is a massive movement happening in the sports card collecting hobby, and if you are too slow, you're gonna get left behind. Celebrities and influencers like Gary Vee are talking about it. Publications like Forbes are talking about it, and we are just getting started. If you're just getting into collecting cards, or maybe you've been collecting for a while and just don't have the collection that you aspire to have, then you've probably realized that there is nowhere on the internet where you can go to learn how to become an expert collector.
I love the drop down in the back. You're probably wondering, who the heck is this, Ziggy? That's a great question. This guy's Ernest. Okay, Ernest is going to go on to tell you about how he's created the system, because there's no system like it on the internet that can tell you how to become a collector, right? Well, let's take a look at the system. What's the system include? What's inside the course? Well, you get the following things in this course. Now, look, I want you to pay attention to all the content that was created and put into a book or a video or whatever it might be, but somebody invested a lot of time. When they did it, like, hey, I'm going to profit off this time investment, right? And then they come with these valuations. I don't know where these valuations come for. Card Collector Jumpstart Guide for $96. Who in the heck is paying $96 for a Jumpstart Guide? You could have been watching YouTube for the last year and gotten this education for free. Now, I wouldn't say it's the best education, but there are people out there giving education for free. You didn't have to pay 96 bucks for it. Oh, but look at this. For $179, you can do card buying deep dive. We're getting deep, man. Learn tactics from the pros and avoid mistakes. These are pros. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, next one. $500 in value, $493. Again, have no idea. We just make shit up, right? We just pull comps out of the air. Who really cares, right? And it's the money making secrets. Wow, how to flip, when to flip, best chance of making money. What should I buy? Hey, how to flip, when to flip. Man, I understand. You're flipping, man. You're the flipper. Pro collector kit, $137 value, right? Decipher between real cards and counterfeit cards, so you know the difference. Wow, I think it's great. You're going to charge me to learn this stuff? You're not going to just point me to a resource? It's not something I can find on the internet? There's not a website that tells me how to tell the difference between a fake Michael Jordan and a real one. I got to. Oh, plus here's the bonus, right? All this content, instead of not $905, you get it all for $197. Man, that's a really good deal. Okay, I'm ready. I mean, $197, right? You learn to use PWCC, eBay, and Instagram. Hey, that's great. So you learn how to use these tools. You also learn, how to protect yourself from scammers, which I find interesting, because I always find when somebody's charging you, you should always be wary. Like, how many people have bought the pills that guys, who's paying for this stuff? Obviously people do. They fall for it. I think a lot of times it's kids who fall for this, or teenagers or children who fall for this. So this can be prey on anybody. Benefit within the community much, much more, because this guy is so cool. He's known in the community. You see his big bobblehead face all the time. So why would you not trust this person? Right. And he's talking about Gary Vee here. Yes, I want in. Look, Forbes tells me I should get in too. Woo, look at this. How to collect cards, $197 versus buying a box of cards. Look at the ROI, mom and dad. I can make an ROI. A little dot there. I don't have to look at the dot at the bottom there. Yes, how can I do this? Oh, please tell me more. Where's the little dot at the bottom? I don't see the dot at the bottom. It has a little asterisk. Where's the asterisk referring to? That's kind of clever. Anyway, who is it? Come on, guys. We all know who this is. We all know. Let's go back to the first picture here, right? We know who this is. We had to zoom in on anybody in the room. Who are we looking at right here? Who are we looking at right here? Make money. Watch this before going any further. We're going to come back to that. Okay. But I want you to see, we're talking about the card collector course. Yes, I want the course from who than Josh himself. Josh, what's Josh's last name? I forget Josh's last name. I shouldn't forget it because he's everywhere. Right? He's all over everything here. Here's Meet the Expert. Right there he is, smiling with his PMG. Every time I hear somebody talk about PMG, I know they're listening to Josh and Card Ladder. I know that. How crazy is that to me? They didn't come out of the bench clear world learning about that. You don't hear Slabs talking about it all the time, but you hear Josh talking about it all the time. Why do you think these cards are here? Do you think these cards might also be in Card Ladder? Right? What do you think the first cards that should have been Card Ladder were? What do you think the first cards that should have been Card Ladder were? Do you think these are cards people were buying and selling these all the time last year? No. Nope. It supports part of this Ponzi scheme like system he's got set up here where, hey, I can get you to either buy my data platform. You don't buy my data platform. I'll get you to buy my class. If you don't want to buy my class, hey, you want to buy my data platform? Want to buy my data platform? Buy my class. Listen to me. I'm an expert. I'm an expert. I'm a collector. I'm an expert. I'm a collector. But you're using money you collect from people to buy stuff in your collection. You're not working for your collection. Hey, that's great. You're hustling. You're making money. Hey, I'm proud of you, man. Oh, here's my favorite part. And this is, again, why I have a problem with Card Ladder in general, because you have these two gentlemen running this company. Listen to this endorsement, glowing endorsement.
This is Chris, co-host of the House of Jordans podcast and blogger on Michael Jordan Sports Card Market. There's only a few people in this hobby that I would give an endorsement to, and Josh from Cardboard Chronicles is definitely one of those people. The thing about Josh is his results speak for themselves. Josh's social media, specifically his YouTube channel, is the hub for top quality hobby content. It's literally the biggest and the best spot that you can go to get high quality knowledge, insights, and entertainment related to collecting. He's built one of the most impressive and elite networks of collectors, dealers, industry players that anybody's put together. Josh is a guy who, if he left the hobby, it would be noticeably worse off. He's a source of knowledge. He's always willing to help people.
Cap.
He'll reach out and speak with anybody who wants to talk to him about any aspect of collecting. He can tell you about it. And, he gives such an energy and a source of inspiration to the hobby through his content and everything he does. So, for those reasons, that's why I want to co-sign Josh and, to my head, great collector.
Does that bother anybody? Anybody at all? Is anybody all bothered at all by the fact that these two guys run this how to collect cards business, right, for $197? And again, Chris doesn't. Chris does the endorsement. So he gets paid for the endorsement. He probably receives some money or something. He receives benefit from this, right? Because him and Josh are part of Card Ladder. You want to point it out. Here's the other part I think is funny. Check this out. If you want to get the newsletter, you can get the newsletter, find out what to invest in, and then he'll send you out, here's what I'm buying. Now, he's critiqued and criticized. They both were very critical of Jeff last year and other people last year for selling information, all stuff, but they both were doing it. How is this not hypocritical as hell, guys? And why don't you disclose this only for $15 a month? So for $15 a month, you get these, what do I buy? Or you get $15 a month to get your card ladder. I wouldn't give these guys $1 a month. Again, they are who they are. These two people are grifters. They are scammers. Yes, they're in the hobby. Yes, they're businessmen. Yes, I'm sure they probably even pay taxes. That's great. But they are taking advantage of people in the hobby. They sat quietly when people talked about this. They talked about buyer beware because they're like, shoot, don't let buyers beware, man. And they will know what I'm doing, right? They were quiet when they talked about data tools. They were quiet when Jeff talked about it's not right to be telling people what to buy and what to do. They sat quietly and they kiss up to everybody in this room. And everyone in this room thinks, oh, Chris and Josh are great. Guys, wake up. Get hobby woke, okay? Here's another part. If you think I'm crazy, here it is, Josh, on January 2nd, 2021, asked about his card business. Listen to his question and the answers.
Don, right on. Josh, there's a question here about your how to collect cards. You want to talk about how to collect cards?
Yeah, I haven't been giving that one as much love lately. I still like keep an eye on it, and I just, I've been so busy with everything else. But yeah, that one kind of started with the same intention as everything else, just trying to help everybody grow the hobby and answering questions and providing more content as much as I can. It's just like a different medium to be able to do that.
Okay.
Cap, scammer, you are scammer, dude. You created that to grow the hobby, to help people in the hobby. You created it for a business. And Jeremy, either you didn't know, which you're going to call, I didn't know he's charging for a newsletter and charging for a freaking class, or you didn't want to bring it up, dude. And I'm going to say you didn't want to bring it up because I brought it up to your attention before. You're an affiliate of his, which means you make money off Card Ladder. You talk about the PMG and kiss his hiney and have him and Chris on your show all the time promoting Card Ladder. Dude, this is ridiculous. Again, you're in with these wolves. I have to then wonder, are you sheep or wolf? Dude, where do you stand? Let me again close on Card Ladder. This is as of, I guess, December 15, 2020, last time I used Card Ladder. This was what they had in there, what they talk about data, okay? You should read the terms of this junk. If you read this stuff, there's no way you reasonably go, oh yeah, I totally trust this. They talk about how they pick the data they're gonna put in right here, right? One of the specific lines, for all cards that sell frequently, the only historical auction data and not the buy it now or OBO data has been added. Such cards feature the phrase auction only. I haven't seen that in the charts, so I don't know, but I know they say right there, they don't put in all data. They also say right down here, due to the possibility of human error, a handful of mistakes can be made. Why are mistakes being made? Dude, everybody else's tool just pulls from freaking eBay the sales data, right? It's an API. They don't massage it, play with it, manipulate it. You go on to tell this lying story about how you authenticate all the data. You show these graphs that go back years. Did you authenticate all that data or did you pull it from eBay, right? You selectively authenticate what you selectively want to authenticate and you selectively leave out what you selectively don't want put in. And nowhere do you disclose this clearly and openly, okay? And when you add to that the fact that the same two people running this data tool, which is selective on data, are making a fortune off of you, selling you a class and selling you a subscription service, I have to say, buyer freaking beware, guys. This is why I've said before, friends don't let friends use Card Ladder. Everybody I know, when I see them use Card Ladder, I scratch my head and I think to myself, everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. There's at some point where you're like, yeah, well, I make enough money off of selling their tool, or hey, it's free to me, so I don't care. You sold out. Now, am I saying it's the end of the world? Are you a bad person? No, you're going to play. I don't know, but you should know. You should be aware because you too are an influencer to other people who are going to follow you and they're going to follow this junk too. So let me just say, guys, there are enough options out there now. You don't need to be using that tool. Okay. Get out of it. Go find some free tool. Slab Stocks is free. Go use Card Hedger. It's the same price. I think it's Card Scammer. Go use something else. And remember, when you're room here, when you're the next cardboard conference or whatever, remember in the room, there's always wolves. There's a few watchdogs, okay? But most of them are sheep and wolves. Guys, we need to stop being complacent. We need to stop standing by and watching and then going, I don't know why people are leaving the hobby, or I know what people have to say about the hobby, or I don't know why people are selling junk, or I know what people are scamming. We have a chance. It's a community. Like, it's the wild, wild west. At some point, you start saying, hey, we need some laws inside this boundaries, right? It's not a crime, but it's wrong. Oh, man, I talk too much. My record stopped? No.